If you're running a growing business, you're constantly juggling what you can do versus what you should do. And one of the biggest questions that comes up is your network. Do you try to build it and manage it yourself, or do you bring in the pros? Well, today we're going to dig in and find out the true cost of that decision.
And you really have to ask yourself this, because for a lot of businesses, the answer is a quiet, painful yes. I'm talking about hidden costs, unexpected downtime, security gaps. They can all silently bleed your budget dry. The choice you make here, it's not just a tech decision, it's a huge financial one.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with that hidden dilemma. Then we'll look at the two main paths, that's managed services versus DIY, and we'll really get into the true costs. After that, we'll talk security and risk, and I'll give you a solid framework to make your decision and get your network ready for whatever comes next.
Okay, let's lay the groundwork here. We're talking about two totally different ways of thinking, but they're both aimed at the same goal, keeping your business online, running smoothly, and most importantly, secure. So first up, Managed Network Services, or MNS. So what is it really? Well, in the simplest terms, this is when you hire a team of outside experts to handle your entire network for you. Seriously, think of it like having a world-class IT department on speed dial, but you're not paying all those full-time salaries.
When you boil it all down, it really comes down to these two core philosophies. The DIY approach, that's all about having total control in-house. But that means you have to hire dedicated people and sink a ton of cash into equipment up front. M&S, on the other hand, just completely flips that script. You get access to top-tier expertise, but it's on a subscription model, so you avoid those huge initial costs. Okay, this is the part you've been waiting for, right? The numbers. Let's do a real head-to-head financial breakdown of these two strategies. So let's kick things off with the startup cost for managed network services. Typically, you're looking at somewhere between $5,000 and $15,000. Now, that's a one-time fee that gets the experts in, gets your systems configured, and gets everything humming along. It's a number you can actually plan for, a manageable investment right out of the gates. Okay, now let's flip the coin. Compare that to going it alone. The upfront cost for all the hardware, the software licenses, the initial setup, that can easily start at $10,000 and climb way past $30,000. I mean, that is a massive chunk of change that you could be using for marketing or sales or developing your actual product. And, the story doesn't end with the setup fee. It continues every single month. For a pretty typical small or medium-sized business, that predictable M&S subscription often ends up being lower than the DIY approach. So you might be asking, why is that? Well, with DIY, you have to factor in full-time IT salaries, pricey monitoring software, and a bunch of other operational costs that just add up fast. You see, this is about so much more than just the sticker price. With M&S, you're essentially buying instant access to top-level expertise and the freedom to scale up whenever you need to. With DIY, you're the one on the hook for finding and keeping that talent, paying for every new piece of gear, and you're carrying a much, much higher risk if something breaks. So, what's the bottom line here? What does all this actually add up to? Well, according to a 2024 study, this is the number that really matters. Businesses that made the switch from DIY to M&S slashed their total network costs by 30 to 50%. Look, that's not just pocket change. We're talking about a game-changing shift in your operating budget. But listen, the conversation doesn't stop at saving money, not even close. The real value isn't just about what you save, it's about what you protect. Let's be honest, a cheap network that isn't secure isn't a bargain, it's a time bomb. So let's talk about security and compliance. A recent industry analysis really hit the nail on the head when it said this. Managed services not only offer financial savings, but significantly enhance security and compliance readiness. In the world we live in today, that kind of proactive protection is, well, it's priceless. And believe me, compliance is not some simple checklist you can tick off and forget about. We're talking about this complex web of constantly changing rules around data encryption, vendor risk, and big standards like GDPR. For an in-house team, just trying to keep up can be a full-time job all by itself, and that pulls them away from doing more strategic work. Okay, so we've thrown a lot at you, the costs, the risks. So how do you actually decide what's right for your business? Let's walk through a simple, practical framework to help you figure it out. So, where do you fit into all this? A really easy way to start thinking about it is by looking at your team size. If you're a small team, say 1 to 10 people, and you have limited IT resources, M&S is often the no-brainer. As you grow into that medium size, the need for serious security and compliance makes M&S even more attractive. And for larger companies, the sheer ability to scale without huge new investments can be a total game changer. And to make this super practical, here's a 5-step checklist you can literally use today. First, just take a look at where you are right now, your costs, what your network can do. Then, be really honest about your team's skills and what you'll need in the future. After that, look at your risk. And finally, start comparing different providers. This is your roadmap to making a smart decision. All right, we've covered a lot of ground. The costs, the risks, the decision-making tools. So what's the one big idea you should walk away with from all of this? It really all boils down to one simple but powerful shift in your mindset. You have to stop thinking of your network as just another IT expense on a spreadsheet. The right network strategy is a core business investment. It's what fuels your growth, it's what protects you from threats, and it's what gives you the freedom to innovate. And that really leaves you with one last crucial question to ask yourself. When you really look at your current setup, at your costs, at your risks, just ask, is our network an asset that's pushing us forward, or is it a liability that's holding us back? The answer to that question will tell you everything you need to know